everybody, good morning and welcome back to the post-storm, although I'm certainly seeing some dark sky out there again, edition of Reaper Pro Tips with me, Anne, who did not wash away in the floods yesterday in California, along with Disembodied Hands Quindy and Disembodied Beard John, and sometimes Kiki, but right now she's watching the squirrel, so that's not likely to be a thing. How are you all? And Crowley, thank you for the resub with the 49 months extra coffee. No, but I have my tea with me today because I was running so late this morning. Totally discombobulated morning. Yeah, so here we are. I guess I could actually hold up the mug and say, greetings from Mountain View, everybody. It's like Google swag. David dragged home and I claimed it. Happy Monday. It's a Monday. Alright. Buicks are people too? I don't know if I buy that. At least not, not when they're not evilly possessed people. Yeah. Got the time and planning on painting, but you're just grumpy. Oh, Crowley. Sometimes we're just grumpy. Sometimes we're just Borderlands 2, which is a great game. I'm cut between 2 and 3 are both really good. I can't decide my favorite. I played them out of order, so maybe I would have a favorite if I had played 2 first. There we go. We're gonna do bass on Mr. Other Grumpy. Mr. Totally Grumpy. We're just gonna continue this nice flagstone bass, and we're going to make it blend into the side. That's my plan. So let's get in focus. But yes. Because we started a new month, my coaching thing has started a new strength, and it's my number 1 strength, strategic. And I pretty much watched the video where they have 3 strategic authors, top strategic authors, talking about how they function and dysfunction for about an hour and 3/4. And at the end of it, I was just like, this is why I'm so messed up! Or not I am messed up, but this is what kept me spinning my wheels for the first 5 decades of my life. It was funny. I took 8 pages of notes. David walked in toward the end of it, and I was just I pointed to the number at the top of my page 8. He's just that's a lot of notes. But it's useful. It's useful. I wrote last night. I wrote some words. Some significant amount of words. So, it's good. I need my spade tool if I'm going to do flagstones. I also probably want one of my softer clay shaper tools. I don't know that I want the round one, though maybe to smooth the top, because the top of these flagstones is pretty darn smooth. Let me make sure I don't have it still sitting out here. It's funny how when you get an outside perspective, you're just all of the light bulbs go on. Alright, there's my taper point. So I want my smoothie tool to smooth the top, but I'm also going to grab this tool, and it's an angle tool. You can see it. I think this is going to be useful because these cuts, they have kind of soft, smooth edges, right? So I'm thinking that this tool can help me to smooth out those cuts. That's what I'm gambling on here. And then I want my big spoon, huge spoon, big flattening tool, because we start with this and then we use the tapery tool to smooth things out. Oh, yay, D&D. But the cool thing about this strength stuff, guys, is that, and the thing that's only just starting to be revealed to me, is that the whole point isn't to show you how you're screwed up so that you can figure out all the best practices that you should do to get unscrewed up. It's actually the fact that once you're conscious of these, the way your brain thinks, you can actually take steps to mitigate it. Like when your brain is freaking out because it wants to make a decision and it doesn't know what decision to make and it's flailing around, you now knowing your brain and knowing what kind of triggers that kind of thing can say, brain, guess what? We're going to make a goal. And brain is like, no, I don't know what to do. And you're like, no, brain, this is our goal. That is literally what happened to me on Sunday. I'm just like, all right, brain, you and me. Sometimes, often, I talk to my brain like it's in third person. Like it's separate. Yeah. Hey, Moonlight, how's it going? You wiggle your pen around the string. Yep. Oh no, burning smell. Oh no, that could be... yeah, it could be a gasket. I don't know, it could be a bunch of stuff in our... Fingers crossed that it's not like something terrible like the head gasket. I had that happen to one car one time. That was a not inexpensive repair. But there are also other things it could be, so... Let's just hope it's just a little bit of an oil leak and you've got some, like, burning oil that you can fix easily with a hose or something. Alright, so let's get some green stuff out and do this. But yeah, so it turns out that sometimes you just have to take your brain in hand and go, you know what? I am the one in control here. And just talk to your brain if you have to and say, brain, we're gonna set a goal here now, and our goal is this. We're going to do X. We're going to paint some hair tonight. Your brain, we're just going to do that. Or if your brain is like me and it's looking for big goals, then you could say, brain, this is our primary goal right now. Now remember, what I'm doing right now is that Julie and Bob turned us on to this last time we worked on the green stuff, is that this green has essentially cured. You can even see the edge. See it? Like, see that hard edge? So essentially it is actually cured in its outer layer, but the stuff in the middle is still good. So you trim away the hard outer edge, which I did. I trimmed a strip off of this, and then you can get at the goopy innards. And you want the goopy innards. You really do. So we're getting the goopy innards. Yeah, maybe it's just an oil thing then. That'd be good. Yeah, I don't use the chisel clay shaper very much, but I think it'd be good for this. But usually what I'm using green stuff for is like smoothing. So I'm using a lot of my taper point, my rounded one. All right, we're gonna need a lot more than that. So where's my, I need a bag. 1 second. I need just grab a little Ziploc bag or something. You gotta put your green somewhere so it doesn't stick to everything. But you can see how it's just possible to peel back this outer cured layer. It's not even sticky anymore. Like, it's just there. And you can dig it out. I'm going to actually move to my scoop tool to see if I can be a little more efficient about this. Now, I got to make sure that I'm getting the good stuff, though, not the bad stuff. But I can probably do a big scoop like that. Yeah, there we go. Since I cut off part of the top. So this tool is but you see how it just scoops out. There's like plastic on either side. It's just cured. So this is old green stuff. I'm very disappointed because I ordered it from Army Painter online, and yeah, I got old stuff. So very sad. I'll have to start switching to Green Stuff World, or hopefully Reaper will have it in stock. Reaper often doesn't have it in stock, which is why theirs is good. All right, we need a bit more. We need a lot of green stuff today. We gotta fill in this base. But yeah, you can just like, you see it's kind of catching there and ripping. But in general, I can just scoop this out. I guess we'll start with that, and then we'll go back for more. Maybe I'll do just a little bit more. There. That's good. You can see how it ripped. Like, it actually ripped like paper. Like, it's just not flexible anymore on the outside. It's a clean tear. Sadness. But at least I can still use parts of it. Thanks to Bob and Julie for letting us know that this is a way to get around this. Now we'll go to the other side. There wasn't really a big problem with the other side. It was mostly on the yellow. Because this is not, the blue stuff isn't nearly, isn't plasticky on the outside. So we can just grab this. So what I've realized out of all of this is that I'm never going to make an announcement as far as which book I'm working on next, and I'm never going to give myself a deadline like that again. Because expectations create pressure, and pressure inhibits my creative process. This is what I've come to out of all of this. And it's part of the problem right now with these books that I'm working on. So, and this is my little my coaching a while ago has actually told me this, is that Terry's like, you have to figure out, and this is good for you guys too, figure out what you really want your painting or your writing, your painting to be for you. Like, really, really get down to it. Like, sit down and write down, like, or think about, or whatever works for you. Talk it out. What do you want it to be? Like, some people are really hoping they can make it into an income stream. Other people are like, I want it to be a creative outlet. You know, I want to finish things and be proud of my work. Other people are like, I just, want it to be fun. I don't care about progress. I don't care about getting better. I just want a fun hobby. And you can get inhibited really quick if you start out thinking, I want this to be a fun hobby, but then other people are like, oh no, you have to get better. Like work on getting better. This is what you really should be doing, right? If you want to get better. But that wasn't your goal, right? It wasn't your goal to get better. Your goal was just to have something fun and relaxing that you wouldn't stress about like the rest of your life. And so for any of us, if we're feeling like we're kind of blocked or we're out of energy for the hobby, it can be useful to kind of go back to your whole reason you got into this in the first place. Oof, this blue is a lot. I might need to, we'll see once I work all the yellow through. But it's very dark green stuff. That might be okay. Hey, Daffodweir, thank you for that resub. Fridge or freezer for green stuff. But sometimes you get it shipped to you, like this was just shipped to me, and it's already in a state of unhappy. Daffodweir, 52 months, and on a 51-month streak. Awesome. But yeah, Reaper's green stuff is like almost always fresh because it sells out so quickly. And it's good that it's in stock, John. I'll have to go on and it's 75006. I'll make a note so I can just go straight to it. I'll go and make an order because I really hate dealing with this old stuff. Like, I'll use it for basing stuff probably, but I want to have some good fresh stuff too. And yeah, you can keep it either in the fridge or the freezer because heat is what accelerates curing for the green. So I do need some more yellow. This is very, very blue, I think. I won't be able to, although, yeah, I won't be able to blend it in very well, and I need to blend it a little bit probably to conceal what we're doing. Well, let's maybe... Where's my yellow? I'll grab a little bit more yellow. Right, exactly. That's just it. That's why you have to figure out what your goal is. Like, if your goal is to sell minis, then getting better will help your goal, right? Although not necessarily. Not necessarily. It depends on how you're going about it, right, Agent Marvel? Because when I was, actually after I was selling, but one of the people I knew was essentially painting just very quick minis for D&D characters and stuff and monsters. And they weren't selling them for very much each, but considering how fast they could paint them, it actually worked out for them. Like, they were having fun anyway, because they would have painted anyway. So instead, they were making some extra money when they did that. So I'm just adding some yellow, guys, to get it a little bit lighter, a little bit more flexible. And so for them, they were selling, but they didn't need to get better. They did get better brush control and command of some of the techniques they were using over time, because that's just going to happen. Like, if you're painting that much, you're going to get this, to a certain point, you're going to get that. But yeah, so it does depend on what you're doing, because if you're just really speed painting stuff, you don't have to like worry about a lot of advanced techniques as long as your work is like, really, it's just like brush control, right? Because if you can turn out good, clean work that looks good with a minimum of effort, you're good. But if you are trying to sell, as in sell, you know, like special characters, you're trying to do one character for a lot of money instead of a lot of characters for a little money, then you're definitely like getting better can serve your cause. And if you're trying to stream, then definitely getting better helps serve your cause. And learning about the hobby, I just wanted to talk about it a bit. And Shadow Raven, thank you, 38 months. 38 months for the Shadow Raven. All right, so we've got a nice big chunk of green here. Now we can, and I'm going to have to touch up the top of his head. I see some rub off. So let us get this green in place and see what we're doing. Right, exactly. So your goal's going to be different, but it helps, like, if you feel like you're getting burned out or blocked or just generally frustrated or you're spinning your wheels, then it's time to look back and say, okay, you know, what was my goal originally, and have I gotten sidetracked? Because we do, right? Humans get sidetracked in life all the time. Because either our expectations or somebody else's expectations like get in the way and kind of switch our brain. And sometimes that's great. Okay, I think we have more than enough now, guys. See how much extra I made. So this is way too much. So we're going to get some water on our tool. And we're going to... Oh, and the wrong tool, too. Man, I'm just out of it today. Where's Giant Spoon? Giant Spoon, where did I put you? You got put somewhere. There it is. Because it's got yellow all over it. That's all right. We can work with that. 10 reviews! Yay! Oh, wait. Yay! That definitely deserves that. Thank God! Oh, good. Yay. We've been waiting for that 10th review for like forever. There are certain brain strengths that love shiny new toys. Shadow Raven. I have one of them. It's called learner. It means that you love to learn and that the learning process itself is a reward for you. But because of that, you get distracted a lot by shiny objects because you're like a new thing to learn and you run off to do it. And it's just the way that you are. And that's cool. I just have to put the brakes on that sometimes because I have goals. I have goals. And my goals are not always enhanced by let's run off and learn the latest new thing. It can be. Like when I need to learn something new, like if I'm writing a scene and I'm like, I need to know how X works, then my learner is really useful because we'll run off, we'll learn it really quick, because usually learners also are very fast learners. We'll run off, we'll learn it quick, we'll come back, we'll write the scene, right? So it can be good. Yes. Yeah, being honest with yourself when you answer these sort of questions. Yep. And sometimes it takes some thought, right? Yeah, where you want to go and where you're at. Yeah, that's the hardest. Because sometimes we're just not where we want to be, or we want to be at step 8 and we're only at step 2 and we don't like that. We want to go from 2 to 8, right? And that can create a lot of frustration. But in reality, it just takes time. All right, so I'm just cutting this with my thing. Cutting off a big chunk. We'll use that on the backside. I think I made just about enough green stuff. I've cursed myself now. Having said that, we will now not have enough green stuff. Get more water in here. Hey, Slayer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm the same way, Shadow Raven. It's like learner is my number 2, right behind strategic. And learner wants to run off and like do all the things, and strategic likes to jump to different goals. It loves to make plans. But if I get too much going on, like you say, it impacts my mental health in a real negative way. So I have to essentially make those strengths work together in a better way that doesn't involve running down bunny trails all the time. So we're going to try to join these up here. And I'm not going to try to blend it in. Sometimes I'll do it, if it's a smaller base, I might make it look like the model's on a little bit of a hill by bringing this down to the edge, but I don't think I'm going to do that this time. I think I'm just going to make the flagstones end right where the viewer sees them. Yeah, Achiever does. Yeah, Achiever and Strategic together, we have a lot in common on that front. Because the problem is Strategic sees like, 5 steps ahead, and it's like, we can get to here. I see the way to get to here, but it wants to be there right away, yeah. Kiki, enough, please. She's so frustrated lately because she's like not allowed to go on her walks, and so she's got a lot of pent-up energy, especially because it's been like storms here for the last, like yesterday was super high winds. Like when I looked outside, the palm trees looked like they were in hurricanes. I can see a couple palm trees from where I am. And it was just like that whipped look that you see in videos of hurricanes in Hawaii and in Florida. And then it was just like rain all day, which very seldom happens here. Very, very, I can't even imagine. I can think of one other day that mostly rained. But a true rainy day is very, very seldom here. So now we're going to slide this. It is still a little bit fat, so we'll have a little bit extra. I don't want to lose this rim between those stones. But yeah, so we really couldn't take her out like in the yard. Like between it, at one brief lull, we took her out and played some frisbee. But I need a better edge. But that was like one time. Like usually she gets like 2 walks a day plus frisbee and a decent amount of frisbee, and we just can't do it right now. Like the yard was like a freaking swimming pool. So let's get that angle chisel. Nice Agent Marble. It's like you cleaned and they were just sitting there and they were like la 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 la. So you cleaned your plate. You cleaned your plate. That's good. That's kind of what I'm doing right now, is I'm trying to get just kind of working through things. Trying to get Ms. We worked a lot on Miss Wood Elf on Saturday. She's really coming along now. We did a lot of skin work. You can really see the light. So I'm just trying to get some of these models figured out. Now, as I put in scoring for the stones that I want, we are going to, of course, make the green kind of spread out and bulge up a little bit more. So we're going to have to tamp it down again, and that's what I'm planning to spread it over here. So I'm going to cut this part, cut this part. These are big flagstones, so we can do this. I think I'll put 2 little ones over here. So we're just kind of cutting in where I think I want to do it. Yeah, her face is turning out really well. There you go, Christine. Yeah, I did a lot of skin work. A lot of skin work yesterday. That was pretty much what we did. So the upper torso is pretty good at this point. Upper torso, hands. So I need to do the legs, feet, and the back isn't done. So that's the next step. But I'm very happy with how she's coming along. I love her skin tones. Oh, come on. Don't underrate the battle bikini, Shadow Raven. As a female, I take the battle bikini with, like, a grain of comedy. Just, like, I'm good-humored about it because I actually created a Champions character who actually had a battle bikini. That's what we called it. We designed it. stat-wise, because I didn't have enough points. I didn't have enough points to actually have leg armor. It was the battle thong. And it was pretty hilarious. So I have a sense of humor about such things. I know some people get mad about it, but I just don't. But yeah, it's funny. So I do not mind. I do not mind scantily clad warrior women, especially not barbarians. I mean, come on, like this dude. Like, sure, he has a bunch more crap loaded onto him, but he's also wandering around with no clothes on. Yeah, long live the battle bikini and the combat heels. Fist bump, Moonlight. You and I are in the same, like, frame of mind on that one. Hey, heels are nasty. And if heels are going to be that nasty to us wearing them, then they should definitely be able to be used for combat and hurt other people as well. Oh, I have a bubble in my green. I wonder if I can pop that out. Just going to put a little hole there. We'll just make it a defect in the stones, is what we'll do. Just like a pit. We'll just work it that way. We'll create, it's not a problem, it's a feature, I swear. So I'm rolling with my taper point now to kind of smooth this out, pull it over this way so that I can pull my green further around the edge here. Oh God, don't remind me about that. Zachariah, please. The battle bikini. I asked for armor and... Yeah, don't you dare cover up Conan. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Right. So, like, valid point. There are male and female versions of this. We'll just deal. I mean, true enough that I don't like painting, not safe for work stuff, really, but this is different from that in my mind. To me, there is a point where it gets gratuitous, and then I just don't enjoy it. But, you know, everybody's got a different line there. So, I happen to like this one. Because I like a really well-sculpted, muscular woman. There's so few of them on the market. I was talking up your command of musculature and anatomy, Christine, on the stream. This miniature that makes it so easy to drop. Yeah. This one is because I've got metal. Because it's a metal figure. That's why. Because it's heavy. It's top heavy. And my base, I haven't put a counterweight on my base, which I can. I can put a couple of pennies in here to, you know, to even it out. But that's why it's so easy to drop. Because you've got a metal miniature on top of a plastic base. So I'm just going to work and I'm going to blend this in just around the sides here. I can bring a little bit more to hide this rim as we go. Got a lot of water on the front of this now that I've got everything glued down. I'm using my big spoon to smooth it. The minis. Thank you, Zachariah. Hey, I'll buy it. You sculpt it, I'll buy it. You know what, Christine? What I really wanted, what I really, really wanted. Her details are probably too thick to really scale up into a bust, but I would love a bust of this. Like, just from the torso up, like, just have this, like, woman, like, she's kind of like my orc berserker now that I think of it, because he's got 2 weapons too, right? And he's a massive bust. She would make a fantastic bust, though, with that expression and the hair. I couldn't make her a very big one, though, if I tried to, like, do that with the STL. Just because sometimes you're scaled for 28 and going too big is just too much. But I know you've done some busts, so I'm putting in my vote. I want a kick-ass female barbarian bust. If I could have my dream mini from Christine's sculpting, that's what I would have. I do love busts. I love big busts, and I cannot lie. All right. Now we're going to use our thing. We're going to flatten this down. We're going to make sure that, because I think it's still a little fat, so we're going to flatten it down. Yeah, they would need to be thinned out. Well, maybe a little bit more detail, depending. Like sometimes details, facial details, I find when you bring them up too much from a small scale, they get a little cartoony. But I could do paint plastic surgery for that if I wanted more wrinkles and lines and small details too. But yeah, you'd know because you've got her. You can look at her really close up, whereas I'm limited. I can only see the small. I guess I could put the STL. I have the STL, I think, so I could put her up on Lychee and look at her close. My eyeballs are not what they used to be. My warranty expired when I hit 40. It was kind of laughable, actually, how fast my vision went downhill once my 40th birthday passed. Like, it really was like the warranty expired, and they were just like, you're done! From now on, you will need reading glasses. Oh, wow. Yep. Yeah, it is it's a thing. And I always have had really good vision, and I still have good vision where it's not little vision, right? Near close-in vision. But my close-in vision is there. So we can check this, and it looks really good, actually. So it's at the same or close enough level. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's stonework. And I'll probably still have to build out these sides, but I'm going to just work with this front part. Then we're going to see if we've got enough to do part of the background. I'll probably just do part of it. Yeah, at 45 you went from no glasses to bifocals. Yep, Vic. Yep. It's a thing. It's a sad, sad thing. So now we'll take our chisel and we'll bring these a little bit more in. They won't be quite as deep as they are. Well, although they're a little, I guess they're a little shallower in places here. So we just gotta make sure that when we paint it, the width is probably more important than the depth, because I can always line. I already have lined these to make them look deeper. So my cuts don't need to be super deep as long as I paint them darker. It'll introduce artificial shadows and give the impression that the stones there are deeper cuts between them. Yeah. Yeah, happily it's the only good thing I got my dad's eyes instead of my mom's eyes. Otherwise, my dad is definitely like, I hope I don't, because I got his back, and that's just been crappy. Sorry, Dad. Not sorry. But my mom is the one who was always wearing glasses. So Pete and I both got dad's eyes. Now we're gonna neaten up some of this. Now some of this I can actually slice off. Once we are cured, I can take an X-Acto and I can clean up this edge a little bit, and that's fine. We can do that. So as the green gets more solid, it's going to pick up fewer and fewer tool marks from these softer tools. So we can use these softer tools to kind of buff out any little bits that my fingernails accidentally impacted or whatever. I should have this guy in a block, actually, and I'll actually do that now. Should have had it that way, but I knew I wanted to put a fair amount of pressure on the base. Sometimes you just have to hold the base with green. If you know you're going to be pushing a lot, and the blue stuff is probably not going to hold the model. There, I've got a big patty of blue tack. That'll let me press this down, hopefully, and get it to stick for a bit. And then we'll grab our appropriate sculpting tools and Oh, you're nearsighted. Yeah, so is David. His superpower is to take off his glasses when he's miniature painting. Drives me nutty. It's not fair. Alright. And I don't mind a little bit of imperfections here and there, like that little dent right there. I can actually double down on that and make that a crack in the stone. Let's grab... I probably want to wait. I was talking to David about this. There's definitely places where you want to wait to do some of this stuff. I can at least get a little bit of it in here. But at this point, the green is still fresh enough that trying to do a really fine crack is kind of a waste of time. So I'm just going to at least indent it a little bit more consistently, and then as the green cures, I can come in and make that a much nicer, finer crack. So there's just like, the tendency with green is that you want to work it all out right away. And in reality, you can't do a lot of details. You really want to wait until the green is starting to set up. So I'm going to set in these little creases, and then I'm going to go and work on the back. So if I want to do anything like big, like really indenting this little stone here, the corners of it, I want to do that now. There we go. Yeah, Shadow Raven, I hear it. That used to be Kyle's superpower, then he turned 45. So his warranty, at least he had 5 years more than I did. He must have paid for the extended warranty. Yeah, I hear you. So now I have to question whether my green is a little too stiff to do the stuff I want to do back here. But I'm going to try it. I'm going to try to at least get it in place back here and see what I can do. So I'm going to form it with my fingers until it's roughly the shape I want. A little thinner toward the edges and thicker in the middle. If I can taper it a little bit, I will. And we're going to put it right in there, sock it right in. Press it down a little bit. Oop, accidentally fingerprinted the front. That's okay. It happens. That's the danger with doing both sides of this model, is that I'm definitely in danger for fingerprinting the front while I'm working on the back. So sometimes good sculptors like Julie and Bob, they will have several models in progress at any given point, and they will work on one of them, and then they will put it aside to work on another. So, because they want to make sure that they don't do what I'm running the risk of doing right now. I'm just going to clean off my sculpting tool real quick, guys. Hold on. Got a lot of yellow on my big spoon, so I scrape it off with a fingernail and get that off of there. Might need to actually like get some blue out and kind of do it, because I got a ton of it all over the... It's easy to get it off of the back side because it's so slippery, but getting it off this top side is a little hard. Jake, yeah. Yep. It's a little late for me now. If anybody tried to scam me about my eyeballs extended warranty at this point, I would hang up. It's been too late. They left it too late. If they would have hit me like, 8 years ago, maybe. Alright, so let's get this pressed forward. I'm putting a lot of water. I mostly stuck this down with my fingers, so there's not a lot of risk of getting water underneath it, but I still want to think about that a bit. So we probably will need to take just a little bit of extra green around the outside just to blend these guys in. Like using my big tool, since the putty's just a little stiffer now, using the big tool just to flatten it down. And I do have a little bit of a taper here, unlike the front where it's more of a straight up and down. I'm okay with that. It's just a little bit of one, so it probably won't be noticeable, not unless somebody's looking for it. I like to use my big flat tools to really try to blend in the green. I know I'm going to have a little bit of extra green over here eventually to help with that, so it's not necessary to get it really blended, but it's good practice. Hey, at least, even if we need magnification, at least we can still paint. I see the day coming where I'm going to need optivisors, and I hate those things. So I'm sticking to my reading glasses as long as I can. Because these things are non-intrusive, like, they can just sit on my face and kind of be there. I'm used to them. But the optivisor puts in a whole new level of like things out here. There may be a day, but not yet. Not yet, dang it. Okay, so we're polishing this down. When you've got enough water and the green is stiff enough, you can just really use the back of a tool like this just kind of to polish the surface and make it nice and smooth. You can see that. And of course the taper tip cone-shaped clay shaper also works great for that. But once it's like, if the putty is like stiff enough, you can get away with doing it with the metal tool, no problem. All right, let's get this chisel point, angle chisel. But yeah, it's probably to the point that I need to question kind of my own, what am I trying to get out of my painting at this point? Not on my professional level. Like, my goals are very clearly defined with the Patreon and the YouTube, especially the YouTube. I've got a whole 2-year plan, like, outlined for that. But just like for my own painting, right? Like, I feel like I've gotten close to like burnout with my own painting lately. And I think the reason is, now knowing what I know about my writing, I think the reason is a lack of clear goals. Like, I haven't revisited my recreational painting at all. Like, I haven't gone back and gone, oh, another bubble. You know, what am I trying to get out of my hobby, right? I've been doing it for a living in one way or another for so long. I need to ask myself, you know, are you still trying to do competitions, or are you just doing it for fun, or what do I want out of it? Do I want relaxation and chill time? Do I want to still be like learning and developing my skill? Like, I don't know, guys. Like, I'm just in the hinterland right now with me and my recreational painting. So our gap's a little bit wider back here than it is up there, but that's all right. But yeah, so I need to just sit down and think about it for a while. Because it's very easy, since David is still competing, it's very easy to let myself slide into that mindset, but then I never seem to, like, it never lasts, and so I have to question whether competing is really what I want to do these days. Smaller than Optimizer, yeah. Yeah, I figure there's, as us nerds get older, like there will be people creating products that help us paint miniatures better. Or do tiny work better. It's not necessary yet. My 3 times reading glasses are still good. But yeah, so I'm just like kind of like going, what am I really trying to get out of the hobby these days? Because obviously I've got a lot of stuff and I'm still acquiring stuff, so the hobby still like interests me and I still, get excited about new models. But then I think I need to really like sit down with myself and have a come to Jesus meeting with my painting and me and figure out, okay, what are we really trying to do here? Because it turns out that goals are really important for me to actually like not get burned out. If I just flail around trying to do whatever feels good in the moment, I get burned out super fast. Some people can do that. Some people are really adaptable and they can just like, jump from one thing to another and like have no problem with that and not get burned out. But I can do it for a limited period of time, but then it really starts draining me. So need to sit down and figure out if my private painting is really just futzing around or if it's working slowly on some really good stuff, or if it's just getting stuff painted just so that I can be finishing stuff because it's bothering me not to finish stuff. Like maybe it's doing like Anubis, doing a faster paint job just to like finish things, even though it's not my top painting, that kind of stuff. I don't know. I won't know the answer to the question until I sit down to really think about it. So I'm using the angled side of this angled chisel to flatten out the top here as well. You can see how it's flatter. So because the putty is stiff enough, like I said, you can now use these softer tools. It's not totally sticky. You can put a fair amount of pressure or a soft pressure. And as I work on it, I am sliding the putty a little closer to the previous bits there. So we've got nice big smooth flagstones here that are coming around the model. And I decided I could have disguised the oval of the base, but instead I decided to play off of it and have it like he's standing in the center of like a hall that's been like pretty much like built with like capstones from the middle and then worked outward. And if I can blend in everything with paint, it won't be that evident. One thing I can do to disguise that is I can take this front part and I can do a little bit of a cut out and give us a new stone, a new small stone here. So let's see if we still have enough flexibility that we can do that. And then have that go out here. And that will make it less obvious if I start ending up, start doing this sort of thing. So instead of just being very, very solid about it, throwing a couple of extra little rocks in there. I'm just going to throw a bunch of water on the top because it's all sealed down, so there's no danger in that. Then use my tool with the best cutting edge to really puncture down into that green stuff a little bit and create this new stone. I can also take this and do a little tiny little stone over here. Boop, boop. There. Get some of this water out of here. So that'll just help make it a little less obvious. It'll help blend in this space. Grab using the tip of the angle chisel now to kind of gently push those edges in. These are shorter, so I'm kind of using the tip, which does make a danger of digging in a bit much. But I should be able to work around that. And if I've got a bit of gapping here and kind of torn up stone, that's fine too. There's a little bit of that in the middle section here. That'll help it make it look more natural too. There we go. So that's, you know, messes it up a little bit, messes the design up a little bit, hides it further. That's why I had to put it on here, or I would have been. I couldn't be. And now maybe I want to further disguise this, so I'm going to actually make a stone coming out on the same plane with the front of this space, maybe misleading the viewer that there might be a rectangle involved instead of an oval. So all these little tricks are just things to kind of like disguise what you're doing a bit when you've decided to leave the base evident and work from it. An easy way to also disrupt this would be to just put some fallen stone over the edges here. Do it that way, but I want this to be pretty clean, so I decided not to do that. I just work with basic tricks to try to make this all work a little better. So this is a pretty simple base execution. It's good practice because it involves smoothing. It gives you a sense of how the putty's going to act as you set it up and then work with it, because you're working with it throughout the course of its curing. It gives you a feel for what's easy to do at each stage, and like when you start to try to blend in at this stage and it doesn't really work, you can see that you've left it too long, right? Luckily, I know I'm going to be using some fresh green to do that. As it continues to cure, it'll get harder to cut into for new shapes. This one is a little harder to do. I'm going to make kind of a gap here between the stones so that I can cut off so this isn't a real thin stone. So this is a good basic green manipulation. You're not doing fine detail. Base work is like one of the best ways to get comfortable with green, in my opinion. It's number one. Conversions then become number two, but you got to start with like really simple conversions. But getting a grasp on smoothing green, you know, blending it, making it smooth, doing bases, gives you a good foundation. And it lets you get over your fear of the green stuff. Slowly. sometimes with catastrophic failures, but you know, you get used to it. It took me a lot of years to get comfortable with green. I used to hate it. There was a long time I hated it. But because it was just better for some applications, I made myself use it anyway, and as I made myself use it, I got better at it. And now, I actually like it better than any other putty. Because I've learned how to work with it. Yeah. It is frustrating sometimes. The thing is to just, like, as you learn, like, Wendy, like, right now, I can still buff out any thumbprints and fingerprints. So, the thing is to just make a mental note to, okay, it's that time to go around the outside here, and to buff out anything that I've done that I need to get rid of. Like this little fingerprint here. There is a fingerprint up here. But with a bit of water and a clay shaper, it's easy to buff out. I'm going to get my clay shaper in here and just kind of make some indentations, just really small ones. Make the rock just a little irregular. There is a gritty texture on the stone here, so let's actually get out Julie's stamps that she made for me, which are really just the back of a sponge that's been cut. So here's the sponge, you know, one of those scrubby sponges. And now that we've got a little bit of, we've got our main features etched in, we can do just a little bit of a press to introduce a little bit of texture. Just start gently. See that texture that's going in there? Those little bits. This will help. Make this all look like it belongs together. And repeating it helps you layer that texture in. But definitely wait until it's pretty firm and all your details are pretty set in before you start doing that. So now we'll go back around to the back and we'll do that as well. Now instead of super smooth, we've got some texture in there. I get to shoot a video today. I think it's going to be my most like intensive video as far as like shooting. I'm going to shoot it in sections because it's the Fast Faces video, my first ever fundamentals and practice video. And I need to do each step, each technique is a separate step, so I'm going to shoot it separately, and then I'm going to cobble it all together again. That's my goal anyway. There we go. Sweet. I've still got a lot of gapping there, so I think I'm going to double down on that real quick. When you've got a gap, you've got two choices. We can either pinch it together or we can work with it and actually make this edge a little bit irregular. So let's press this in a little. I'm to the point where I really can't gouge. Like my green has gotten very rubbery, but this means it's a little bit easier. So there we go. To push it one way or another without totally deforming it. So I'm just pushing parts of it in a little bit more, and then I'm taking parts of it out, parts of it in. So I'm just making it a little irregular, and that's going to help disguise that. And also I forgot to put little rounded edges on my flagstones, so I need to go in and do that. And that's just using my little tip of my spade tool here to just kind of come in and do that. Put Pretty happy with the ones on the front here. Sweet. Now, the other side of this, the actual sponge side, you'll see this is also cut. Now to do this, your surface should be much wetter, like much fresher. So a soft texture like this, you're going to be using a lot of water, and the green should be really fresh and soft, and then it'll take this. Or barring that, if you're using a different sort of putty, that will help the green be a little bit more amenable to taking a soft shape like this. Yeah, now you're a pro, Studio DKS. Yeah, there definitely are miniatures that still have fingerprints on them. Yes, in metal casting. Yep, yep. That just, for some reason, it was missed and not cleaned up. Yeah. So we still have a little bit to disguise on the ends here. And I do have the time, so I think I'm going to mix up some fresh green. Thank you, Richard. Yes, his original base is very tidy looking, so I stuck to it. So we're going to get just a little bit mixed up. Yeah, sometimes a model is just going to mold really fast because it comes in late. Oh, I haven't been drinking my tea. What is wrong with me? Carly would be disappointed. And I went through the trouble of putting it in my Mountain View mug to keep it hot. The least I can do is actually finish it. Alrighty, so once again we're working with our old green stuff, sad old green stuff. I have to order some nice stuff from Reaper when I get off stream. I'll put that on my to-do list for later today. So we have sadly cured plasticky outsides and a soft goopy middle. And we're just gonna get in there with our sculpting tool. Gonna be smart and get some water on it this time. And scoop out some of the juicy innards. There, we don't need much. This is probably too much, but... And then we'll get some blue. Yeah, I used to be like that. These days I just drink it. I'm usually on a time constraint. I don't want to bring it to the stream with me because I do the whole stream and not drink it, like as we see today. Yeah. Right, exactly. I just don't like the tubes. I like the ribbon, but I just like it when it's fresh. I like it when I get fresh green stuff. Like, I go through the ribbons fast enough. These days I am using more green stuff because I regularly do bases on stream that I use green in, but... Oh, yeah, candle warmers. Yeah, that makes sense. So I'm using more yellow than blue here. I still need it to be firmly green though, so I may need to grab a little bit more blue. But when you're blending in, you want it to be just a little bit more yellow. You don't want a 50-50 mix. But you can't go too far either way or the green won't cure. Yeah, Inara is like smart. This is a really light green, so I may need more blue. But I'm going to keep mixing because you never know when there's just a little bit left in the middle. This isn't too bad, actually. And it feels more goopy. It feels softer because it's a higher percentage of yellow. You see just a tiny bit more blue. Usually I don't have my tea with me because but today we just like we're running really late. David got up later because he hasn't been able to take Kiki for her walk. He brings her back inside a lot faster, and that means that I put off my shower so I can feed her quick before I go and do all my morning yoga and stuff, which just tends to push me later, and I don't like it. But I mean, it's only a little thing while she's in heat, and then we'll go back to our normal schedule. I think I'm okay. You can see the difference, though. You can really, really see the difference. That's funny, Quindy. Yeah, my tea's still hot because I put it in the double-walled mug. We've got a couple of these around the house. However, now that I've been reminded, I'm just going to drink it. I love these double-walled mugs. I mean, we have Yetis, but this little promo one was good too. All right. So we're going to try to use this green, and hopefully it'll cure. Hey, Roger. Yeah. Well, I put a little bit more blue in it. I don't know. We're going to go with it. We're just going to go with it and see if I've cursed myself by using too little blue. But I only need a tiny bit. So I'm using my Ziploc, just my little Ziploc bag here. Yeah, part of me says this is just not enough, but well, we'll see. I haven't actually pushed to either side to try to see where the threshold is with green stuff. But if you have too much of an imbalance, it will not cure right. So now I just want to come in here and add a little bit of a cap here, another extra little stone. The other thing about using so much yellow is this is going to hold tool marks like crazy, so the clay shapers then become more valuable. So essentially I put in a little bit of an extra little flagstone here. I can essentially create a cut here, going down to here, to make the illusion that this is just a separate little stone. My edges don't line up perfectly, but they don't need to. Since these are just little capstones, I'll like give them time to cure, and then I'll check on their hardness and make sure that they cured. Yeah, you can use the little wax things too, wax melts in those candle warmers. That's what they're made for, isn't it? Yeah. So we'll do our little texture. Get around to the other side. And then we'll have our base fully done. I might just take a, I've got a number of bases that still need painting. I was thinking maybe we'll take a day and finish up a lot of those. Like we still got this lady. I can do different colors and different techniques. But we can get a whole bunch of them done, which would be nice. Part of me still thinks I don't have enough blue. You off, Crowley? All right. Have fun. Have a good day. Enjoy your Monday as much as possible. So guys, remember, I will not be here on Wednesday and Thursday because of medical crap. All the testing. And then next week, I think Tuesday is the 13th, I also will be out for the MRI. We're going to get all this crap done. All of my stuff. You know how you just put it off? You're just like, I don't need a colonoscopy. I just like, this is the year of Anne, like, facing the music. Getting all of the testing done. Yeah. And a lot of it only needs to be done like every 5 years, right? So it's like, just getting a lot of it out of the way. Screening and screening. I used to yell at my mom for not being proactive about her health, so I can't do it anymore. I can't be a hypocrite. I have to do it. So yeah, I'll be out Wednesday and Thursday. I'll be back Friday. Alright, so we've got our one little flagstone in over there. I still need to fix it up a little bit down there. It's a little bit wonky at the bottom. But a little bit. And this is where the fine tip on this chisel, this angled chisel clay shaper, is really nice. It just lets you get down in that little detail and play with it a little bit. And you just really lightweight because how soft this green is. But you see how I was able to fix that little bottom edge there. Yeah, it's good stuff. That's another thing to realize with the green stuff. Just be like slow and delicate with it. You don't need to be real pushy and squishy and get it all done now and go crazy and over the top. You can be real delicate with it and do light touches and get a lot more progress. More medical. Yeah. Oh no. Well, hey, at least we're getting it done, Turgeon. Yeah, get it done. Get her done. I'm so happy about those 10 reviews on West of the Moon. Yay! Yay! Now I can stop worrying about that book. Now the next goal will be like 40 on East of the Sun. Although I'm just not worried about it from this point on. Like, as I write more books and as more people read the old ones, they'll naturally get more reviews. So, as long as I've got that minimum threshold, I'm not worried about like the 50 or 100 review threshold. Like, that'll just take time. And eventually, if we keep this up and people like our writing, we'll end up being one of those nice people who has 50 reviews on launch day, right? That's the goal. But you need a certain, like, critical mass of readers to get that, unless you're going to go and do all the... There's things where you can submit your book and have random people read it. And, like, then they can leave a review if they feel like it. But I don't know. I'd rather have it all happen organically, I think. I'm not in a hurry. Not in a hurry at all. I have more than enough other things to distract me right now. I realized when I asked myself what I wanted my writing to be for me, and it was scary. It was interesting how scared I was to ask myself that question. Like I felt like I wasn't going to get a good response. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing some stippling. I mean, we did use a texture stamp to like put a little bit more texture into the green. But yeah, this is a texture that's very easy to stipple. Like I could create this with paint plastic surgery without even doing the texture. It's just I like to have some texture on the stones. Another thing to remember is if you put your texture in really early, you're going to see some of it pop out, and you may want to do a second run. I'm seeing a little bit of pop out because the green is flexible. That's the thing. It's one of the things that makes it really good at stuff like expressions in a human face because it's flexible like muscles. But at the same time, when you're doing stuff that's not supposed to be flexible like stone, it can be harder to work with sometimes that way. So you may have to reapply your texture stamps if you applied them a little early. We're just going to use we're using our small spade. Because I want to just gently ease it in here. Create that little flagstone there. Yes. Thank you for telling me. Yeah, because I tend not to look, right? Because I don't want to obsess about it. It's very easy when you're doing this sort of thing to obsess about it. And now that I know I've got 10, now it's good. Now I can sit back and just write more books, and then I'll worry about those books. But actually, this is good to have this benchmark because it took us, we released it at the end of August, and it was the end of January or early February. So September, October, November, December, January. So call it 5 to 6 months when you're not actively pursuing reviews. That's fine. There's a lot of mentality in the book industry, in the writing industry, where if you don't get your reviews right away, you're screwed. But I don't really buy into that whole narrative. My books are going to be out there for years. And I'm going to be adding to the series at my own pace. So I don't buy into all that, like, books are like produce. Like, that's a New York kind of thing where it's like if the book doesn't have a good launch, they drop it because I think it means it's never gonna be profitable. And I don't think that that's really true. Not for me. Maybe it's true for some big megacorp. They're just looking for the next Stephen King. Yeah, exactly, Kodiak, right. Like, a book can be out for ages and then just somebody picks it up that's, like, got a big audience and they really like it, and next thing you know, boom. I mean, I was just reading this morning about Tracy Chapman. She did a very rare performance. There was another musician who did a version of her Fast Car, and now her Fast Car and her debut album is now back at number 1 on iTunes. Because she did a performance at the Grammys with the artist who created a different version of her song. So, like, that's, like, 89? Like, I saw her in concert, like, one of my last, like, toward the end of my tenure in Madison after that. And that was on that tour, that first tour, I think. And if you study... Like, if you like look at stuff, like there's a book out, it was Cory Doctorow's book on choke point capitalism, but he actually pointed out that back catalogs for publishers and musicians are like, people are more often downloading old songs than new songs. So yeah, I think that I'm going to be patient. And also, much as I like my Bear Kings books, they might just not be what the market is looking for right now, but they might be in 10 years. You just never know. Maybe 20. I'm gonna still be around, all things considered, assuming the gods, you know, decide I'm worth keeping around. Barring any weirdness. So there we go. We put the two little end cap on. Blended them in. I could probably put another little one right there. But yeah, so I was just going to keep doing my thing. I mean, I think that's the thing with the Patreon too, for those of you who are ever thinking about starting a Patreon or a YouTube or whatever, streaming. It takes time. Like, it's a long haul. Like, when I started my YouTube, I didn't expect it to come to anything because the goals were so, like, for partnership and all that, were just so huge. I don't know if I want to toss this in there. I guess I'll try. Oop. I don't know if I'll regret that. But now my YouTube is getting to the point where I can actually see the point where I might get offered partner, you know, revenue sharing. Like, it's within goal. Like, I can see it. I could see where I could do it within a couple years, right? So now I'm willing to put time into it and to focus on it. But it took time. It just took a couple years just being out there. And it really took me, like, deciding to do the Fundamental series. Like, that is what changed everything. Because when you're putting social media stuff out, value, you should be, like, looking at, you know, how much value do I offer, right? I'm always looking at, you know, does the information I'm giving you guys, is it valuable for the time that you're giving me, right, out of your days? And I feel like because I felt like there was a need for something like the Fundamentals series, and because I actually acted upon that, now that's why my YouTube is actually, like, growing at double the rate that it did last year. So yeah, that wasn't too bad. I can blend this in. Blend this in a little bit. The underlying green being stiffer, it makes it a little harder, but I'm gonna do some texturing. Another thing, if I don't want to totally blend that in, I can put my texture stamp on it. And blend it that way. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's just a rock. So that made that a little bit more rounded there. I'm okay with the one on this side. It looks pretty okay. This one needed a little help there, a little bolstering out. So there we go. And that actually is a perfect time to end the stream. I have a little bit of green left over. Sadly, I haven't started a new putty catcher, so I'm just going to trash it. One of these days I'll start a new putty catcher. So once we paint over this, I'll probably paint over it with primer so that everything starts out at the same color, and then I'll paint over it. Then we can think about things like adding a little bit of static grass or flock on top of these to give it some moss and things like that. And we can use patches of that to disguise this join so that we can even more get rid of the fact that we have put an integral base in here. So we'll probably end up doing that on this base. But yeah, so I would say this guy, we've got one more week of him, and I'll finish painting and landscaping the base. And like I said, if we have extra time, I'll actually work on finishing the base finally for this Ghostwalker lady. She didn't get turned in to Ron last year because her base wasn't done. But we could do a little double basing special and make sure she gets done. But yeah. Thank you everybody for hanging out. Let me put away some of my tools here so that I'm not, and so I don't like forget and put them in the wrong place. get my texture stamp put away. Rhonda should be on today. Awesome. Excellent. Yeah, I'm going to be spending the afternoon shooting that video. Hopefully it'll turn out well. This is the first one of the fundamentals and practice videos, so it's kind of the test. The test of, you know, is it going to be a good thing? We'll see how much play it gets on the tubes. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for giving us your support. Thank you for all the resubs. And yeah, tomorrow we are back to Dragon. I'm still not happy with the belly color. I may need to do something drastic. I'm still thinking about it. The belly is just too dark for me. So we'll see what we can do. But yes, thank you all, and we'll figure it out tomorrow, all right? Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.